Hello, it is March 23rd, 2026, and today is the 34th day of Lent. Today is Monday, and I got up this morning at 7 o'clock and was sat for my stillness meditation at 7:15, and at 8:15 I got up and drove to Pony Coffee and sat at Pony Coffee and journaled for until I was done, and then went to the church and was working on a few things. Specifically today, one of the biggest thing I did was made a new digital set design for Palm Sunday, because this Sunday is Palm Sunday. And I do a special Palm Sunday worship scene, and so I finalized that today. We had my friend and coworker's her birthday lunch today, 42nd birthday, and we went out to Bourbon Street Cafe downtown, which I'd never been to, and it was delicious. Would definitely recommend and go back to that. After lunch, we all went back up to the church, and then we had staff chapel, where we all go into the prayer room and have a time of kind of corporate sharing of prayer requests, and have a time of prayer, and then a time of worshiping together. And then after that, we all just went and did the things that we needed to do. On the way out of staff chapel, we were walking through the sanctuary, and the LED wall was off, as in no image was being shown on it, so it was just black. But there was a panel at the bottom of the screen that was kind of like this blue static was happening on it, and that's abnormal and not a good sign. And it was just a single panel, and it kind of had this blue, barely, if you were really kind of closer to it would you even notice. And with the screen on, with an image on it, you wouldn't notice at all unless you knew it was happening and you were specifically looking for it. You would just never know. But I needed to take care of it, and so I went through my troubleshooting of the LED wall, of basically doing a restart of the computer. I don't know exactly what it's called, because I guess it's the computer server situation. Neither one of those words are probably the correct, but it's the overall big brain that gets the image from the computers, and then it divides up the image to each of the panels, and it runs all of that. So I restarted that, and it didn't fix it. So my next troubleshooting is to turn it off and turn all the power off to the panels themselves, because the panels always have power running to them. So they're not, even though they're black, they're not showing an image. They're still on, ready to receive an image. So when something goes wrong, one of my first steps is to flip all the breakers and power cycle the wall itself. So I power cycled the wall, and whenever that came back on, the panel that had a little bit of blue static was just black. And then there were two other panels at the top of the screen that were going haywire. So that was a bummer, because trying to fix a very minor issue caused three major issues that couldn't be just put off or ignored. So my afternoon turned into opening up the back of the panels that weren't working. I started with the bottom one, and there is a microchip like each panel has a controller chip, its individual brain, and uh, pulled that out, put it back in, and whenever I did that, instead of it went from being black to being going kind of crazy. So I knew I needed to replace that chip, and I had 4 spares. So I replaced the chip, and it worked. So that's good. But then I had to crawl and climb to the top of the wall, which is 20 feet high. And there's these, it's sitting on the wall itself is self-standing. It's sitting on the floor, and there are braces on the back, and I can climb up and down those. So I climbed up to the top and precariously held myself up there, leaning up against a steel pole, and took the back off of the first one that I was working on that didn't work, took its microchip brain out, put it back in, popped it all back on, and that one started working again. So that's great. And then moved to the other one and tried the same thing. It didn't fix it. So then I had to figure out, because I'm up there, like I'm holding my body up there, like wrapping my legs and things around this beam, essentially. Don't know exactly how to describe it. And I'm like, have my arm around something and my legs wrapped around something, and then I'm taking a big piece off that I can't drop. I'm trying to hold on to that. Then taking this chip out of the back of the panel that I have to take 2 tiny little screws out, and I'm holding in my mouth, and then putting the screwdriver in my pocket, popping the thing off. And I was able to do that. But if I was to get a replacement chip, then I'm like, I have to take that off. I have to have the replacement with me the whole time. So climbed back down. I found like a shoulder bag, like a messenger bag situation, and put the chip in there, brought that up with me so that I could take the back panel off, put it in the bag, take the chip out, put it in there, replace it, put the little tiny screws back on. I'm telling you, if I was at the edge of death for like 20 minutes today, and it was, if OSHA was involved at all, I would be getting some sort of letter. It was not the smartest thing of me. It was like, should have gone and got a big ladder and that whole thing. But to get a ladder, like I have a ladder that's that tall, but it's ladders that big are big and heavy, and it's a little giant ladder, so I'd have to bring it in there and get it all extended, and that would have been a whole job in itself, just getting the ladder prepared for me to go up there. So anyways, my job, I love how my job can be sitting at a coffee shop all day, working on a laptop, or it can be not on a computer at all on a Sunday morning, leading people and getting on stage and doing announcements or whatever else I'm doing on stage, or coordinating, having conversations, or it could be doing technical repairs of an LED wall, while this on the same day, being an artist and creating a digital set design for Palm Sunday, and in the same day putting myself in mortal danger replacing microchips in the back of an LED wall. Uh, you just all kinds of things. Makes it fun though. Uh, I like that every day is a little bit different. It could be graphic design, photo, video filming, video editing, um, digital design, brainstorming, recruiting. Could be designing, interior design, building out, physically building out furniture for the interior design, um, environmental design, production design. Then the leading aspect of things, teaching aspect of things, communication. Um, I'm I am the voice of this organization and the head of communications essentially. Um, so yeah, I was just whenever I was hanging on there precariously, I was like, this is wild that this is actually my job right now. Um, Also, yesterday, got on the train of why does Jesus curse the fig tree in Scripture, and what does that say about um, Jesus? What's it saying in the story of God? And just learning that it's a allegory for the religious elite who have the appearance of fruitfulness based on their pretty leaves, but they don't even have any they are fruitless. There's not even a bud of fruit on the tree, and that and I'm bringing it up because it's funny how the reason I was thinking about it is because it was in the most recent episode of The Chosen that I had watched, and whenever I asked Claude, it said, basically that Jesus explains it in a parable that follows that moment, and just learning about that, being curious about that. Well, then last night I watched the next episode of The Chosen, and that was in the episode was them walking back from Bethany to Jerusalem, and the tree had withered, and the disciples are like, the tree you cursed is withered, and Jesus explaining that to them and saying, as you pointed out, it wasn't in season, but it had leaves, and it had no buds of fruit, no indication of fruitfulness. And then giving he didn't say the parable in the show, but just explained it to them, that basically saying, does this remind you of anybody? Saying that the Pharisees and the religious elite, that they may have the leaves of springtime, but they have no fruit, and just echoing the turning of the tables, and saying that the Pharisees are like a tomb, beautiful on the outside, but full of death and bones on the inside. So, just I don't know. It was a little. I don't know a word to use because it was not embarrassing. It's not. I don't know. Maybe it's just surprise. Like, I had all these questions about the fig tree. I'm just, I guess, surprised that I didn't already know that. I mean, I definitely have read it before. I read all of the Gospels, throughout my life many times, but everything is just so contextually and intellectually deep that, um, and then just to never have even, I don't even know if I've heard a teaching on it. And it was also already in my brain because of making graphics for Palms, making graphics for Holy Week, and made one for each day, and Tuesday being Fig Tuesday. And yeah, it's just, I guess, just that was an emotion that came up of whenever it was in the next episode, and then talking to Claude, and um, realizing that it's not a theological mystery that's debated, because Jesus literally lays it out in a parable within a few verses. That an emotion that is akin to embarrassed that I didn't already know that, but it's not as strong as embarrassment. I don't know what word that would be. Yeah, so there's that. Trying to think what else I've been thinking about. I guess one thought that I've been having, just as I'm in this journey of 40 days, um, of like intense discipline, making myself do things, um, both deny myself things every day and um, add things every day with no exception. And now that I'm 34 days into meditating for an hour a day, and just thinking about how there is fruit to that sit, regardless of the quality of the sit, if we want to judge and quantify the quality. But I guess part of what I'm thinking is there is a certain discipline and diligence to the formal practice of the knees hitting the mat. And then there's an additional layer of diligence and discipline of the mind. That there's the physical discipline of being there, eyes closed, not moving, breathing, and not getting up for an hour. That is in itself its own discipline and practice, and vine with its own fruit. But then there's the vine of the mind, and growing out of sitting there still is what the mind is doing. And I can let my mind flow in choiceless awareness, or I can be disciplined and diligent in a mantra. And I've been able to be disciplined and diligent in the physical practice of sitting still. and letting that be enough. But then also recognizing that there is this other side of the diligent practice of the mind and staying in complete control of the attention that is being given. And there is fruit to the wondering and noting things and letting thoughts combine and uh, manifest and evolve and unfold, and ideas happen and ideas grow day after day and become into final form, where the next step of the idea is a physical action. But then there's also there's a certain fruit that can only come from the attuning of turning my attention to the mantra and keeping it for as long as I can in the mantra. And there's a certain spiritual joy that can, I want to say, maybe only be attained through the diligence. And I feel like I would have predicted 34 days in that I would be much closer to staying in the mantra for an entire hour than I actually am. Because I'm in and out of the mantra the whole time. And I would say, I can pretty easily say, I don't think I'm even in the mantra 50% of the time. It's more so in choiceless awareness. And some lost in thought, but I would say more so in choiceless awareness, meaning lost in thought is where I'm in the future, I'm in the past, and I've lost connection to the fact that I'm even a physical being sitting there on my knees. I'm lost in a thought. Versus choiceless awareness is knowing that I'm sitting here breathing on my knees and knowing that I'm thinking about something, but allowing what's happening to happen while being aware of everything that's happening. And I'm in that space the majority of the time, and then choosing to bring my attention to the mantra and staying in the mantra. But then there's always thoughts happening. And so just allowing a thought to take me away from the mantra and letting it happen and then coming back. I'm noting all of this. I'm not necessarily judging this. I'm just noting it all and noting it with also the desire to be in the mantra more than not, and hopeful for a day where that balance shifts and I'm in the mantra more than I'm in choiceless awareness, more than I'm lost in thought. And it takes, just noting that how difficult it is and how disciplined you have to be within your mind for me to get there. That the discipline of the physical body being there, getting on my knees, not moving, and breathing for an hour. then while I'm there, the discipline of the mind to be breath in, love. God, thank you for your love. Exhale, love. Thank you for your love. Inhale, joy. God, thank you for your joy. Exhale, joy. God, thank you for your joy. Inhale, peace. God, thank you for your peace. Exhale, peace. God, thank you for your peace. Inhale, patience. God, thank you for your patience. Exhale, patience. God, thank you for your patience. Inhale, kindness. God, thank you for your kindness. Exhale, kindness. God, thank you for your kindness. Inhale, goodness. God, thank you for your goodness. Exhale, goodness. God, thank you for your goodness. Inhale, faithfulness. God, thank you for your faithfulness. Exhale, faithfulness. God, thank you for your faithfulness. Inhale, generosity. God, thank you for your generosity. Exhale, generosity. God, thank you for your generosity. Inhale, gentleness. God, thank you for your gentleness. Exhale, gentleness. God, thank you for your gentleness. Inhale, self-control. God, thank you for self-control. Exhale, self-control. God, thank you for self-control. To remain in that whole sequence and then repeat it and remain in the whole sequence. I've been doing it for 6 years, and it's never not been hard. That is such a difficult thing to do, to make it all the way through that sequence without getting lost and forgetting that I'm doing it. But I know the fruit of completing the sequence and the spiritual joy that overcomes me. And I know the fruit that comes from it. And I know the tastier, the fruit gets tastier and tastier the more time I can spend within the sequence. And so I desire to be there, which is why I'm on this journey in the first place. It's why I am putting myself to this endurance challenge to do it for an hour every day for 40 days. And it's not going to be, not with the goal of after 40 days that I'm no longer doing it, but it's you form a habit after 21 days or 28 days or whatever it is that you do, and that this is now a habit, and it's no longer an endurance challenge of keeping it every day without exception for 40 days. It's like, if I miss a day, I miss a day. But just where it is a regular rhythm and practice in my life. And that ultimately is what I hope for, that this is more than 40 days, and that it's installed in my nervous system, it's installed in my rhythms, and my habits, and my life pattern, and where my knees hit the mat more days than they don't. That's what I hope. Whether that's for 30 minutes or an hour or longer or shorter. Just that it is a disciplined and diligent practice, and I don't let it slip away and months or years go by between sessions.